we returned to Blackness for a special episode focused on the new raiding mechanics. A week ago, Update 16 was released, which introduces the ability to raid bandit camps. Blackness has an age-old bone to pick with the Ravagers, the most cruel and unjust bandits of them all. This episode will be slightly different from previous episodes in that I will show a lot more micromanagement. The raiding is a new feature and it still needs improvements. I'll give my feedback on the raiding feature at the end. It was spring 1358 and the paths in and out of the mountain were becoming traversable again. A hanging is considered, but we agree to release our recent prisoners from the river bandits instead. Blackness was formed to fight the darkness in the world. It was time it kept its promise to itself. For too long, the Ravagers had lived without fear. We would take our best combatants and 2 catapults. We would need some time to prepare and build catapults to take with us. We would also need a few days travel to make it there. We knew exactly where they were. Everyone knew exactly where they were, just nobody was brave enough to go there. We knew the risks, that some of us might not make it back. In fact, it was possible that none of us would make it back. And we knew what they would do if we were captured. Eventually, we were there. They would not be expecting us. The Ravagers were the worst of the worst. From our scouting, we counted at least 45 Ravagers. There was no time to waste. We created a stockpile and built ourselves a shelter to operate a siege from. We were vastly outnumbered, and we would need to be tactical. And so the siege began. We began to rain fire down upon them. We would rest for the night and continue in the morning. Petronila would continue the attack throughout the night. The rain would put a dampener on our incendiary attacks. After breakfast, we would scale the wall. Here, we scale here. We'll need to time our ascent to avoid patrolling guards. Mary would keep the catapult ready to support us. The rain was making archery difficult. Our hands slipped often, but so did our enemies. Osred and Holden would take the lead. Archers support them. Holden was wounded, and he would have to let Osred handle it from here. We needed Mary as a medic to help Holden. Right, Osred, smash the door in. We're in. And looks like we have a new place to rest. You need to rest, Holden. Join us later if you can. The battle and the rain was taking its toll on our mood. We had to keep pushing forward, inch by inch. Now let's try to take the gate. I'll talk more about this at the end of the video, but you can see here that my archers aren't targeting the enemies for some reason. This is perhaps a bug that will be fixed soon, but I wanted to leave it in because that's the experience that I had. I can only apologise that it breaks the immersion of the battle right now. He's just slowly walking towards us and we're not able to do anything. Anyway, they knew we were coming now and they were bringing the fight to us. We'd give them the wrath of Blackness or die trying. It was clear we had to fall back to a better defensive position. Incredible shot, Mary. Let them come to us now that they know we're here. It was getting late and we decided we might need to rest for another night, but then they prepared a counter-attack. The gates swung open and all of them started to charge out. This was the last stand. This was where the battle would be decided. We commanded 2 of our hounds to join the battle. They had done enough to distract them. We would take it from here. The battle continued to heat up and our pace got faster and faster as we went into a frenzy, tearing them apart. And eventually, they routed. The stronghold was ours, and the Ravagers had been wiped out. We could rest and recuperate. The stronghold seems to have been taken by the Ravagers. The basement held the deceased inhabitants in prison cells. The Ravagers had likely feasted on the rest. Fortunately, there was still some safe to eat eel. We would tear down their banners and put up our own. We had cleansed the land of monsters, and now we could head home to rest. The spoils here were quite pitiful compared to the wealth of Blackness. But we never came here for treasure. We came here to serve justice on the land. The fortress of Blackness was keen to see their friends return. Hope you enjoyed this special episode. The Going Medieval developer Foxy Voxel calls this update Update 16, Bandit Camps and Ambushes. You can find more details about the update on the Steam page, and I'll leave a link to that in the description. You could probably see in this video that it's a work in progress and probably needs a patch or two. There's some targeting bugs when characters are on Merlin. Also, what you can't see in this video is the amount of micromanaging you need to do. When a character is undrafted, they could run into the middle of the fort and try to harvest some herbs. So I have to keep them drafted, which causes their moods to go down. It would be good to be able to paint a zone like you can in RimWorld, which basically means you can control where they're allowed to go. Overall, the ability to raid adds a whole new way to play the game. Could be interesting if they let you hire mercenaries that are more expendable in these raid battles, as you're often outnumbered. Over time, I can see this getting better and better. I haven't tried the ambush event as it's not as interesting to me. I actually prefer to just play defensively, so even raiding is not that exciting to me, but I know that for some players it's huge, and it definitely adds more to the game. My biggest praise is actually for the optimization update that happened a few months ago and probably slipped under the radar for some. Before the update, the optimization one, Blackness had very low frame rates. It's par for the course that as your settlement gets bigger, your frames go down. So it's a big one for me that the developers managed to optimize the game. Blackness and especially East Avon were basically ended because they got too big. So now I could potentially make more Blackness. You never know. For now, I'm doing RimWorld, but it's great the Going Medieval is updating so fast. It opens the doors for a lot of future videos. So anyway, let me know what you think of this update, as I think people have been asking for this one for a long time. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.